episode. We have had a ton of fun on the show. The show's been amazing. It is still among the tops of iTunes in entrepreneurship and online selling. Thank you so much for being a listener here today. I have a special guest on. I don't do a lot of interviews. I've had a lot of you reach out to ask, Steve, can I apply to be on your show? The answer is no, thank you though. But and the reason is because I'm very careful on who I bring on. It is not by if someone came on through a sponsorship or things like that. I'm very guarded on what information I'll put through this channel. And so that being said, I want you to know a special guest I have on with me today. His name is Brad Gibb. He is over with Cash Flow Tactics, and it has been, well, I'll just tell you, I'm very obsessed. I actually study money and economics as much, if not more, than I study marketing. And the reason is because I have run into too many scenarios personally where I make a lot of money and then I am stupid with it and I end up losing it. And so I started seeking out education, ran into Cash Flow Tactics, and these guys just put all the pieces together. And they have been, quite honestly, probably the sole, if not like 80% of all financial education that I receive from here on moving forward. It has been exactly what I need. My revenues have grown. My profits, more importantly, have grown. I know what to do with the money. And he's been just an amazing friend and teacher. And so with that, I want to welcome to the show the amazing Brad Gibb. How you doing?
Steve, man, that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Limited guest and changing lives. That's awesome, man. I'd say the same thing right back at you as I was trying to figure out marketing because I'm good at numbers and spreadsheets, but not marketing. And I've gone through that journey as well and whittled down to where I don't listen to very many people outside of Steve Larson. So this has been a great symbiotic back and forth. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been super fun. And you and I, just to kind of dive in here, I feel like I remember the first time I ever watched you guys speak, I was like, man, these guys are like in another realm on all the finance stuff and all the things to do with the money after. And I was kind of a blind entrepreneur that was like, no, it's all about the product. You know what I mean? But this passion thing, don't tell me about my vision. You know what I mean? And then I remember getting slapped with that first tax bill and I was like, oh,
this is
where's Brad? Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask just right off the bat, for me, and I know a lot of listeners are probably, the show is launched for profit. The reality is most people just launch for break even. Uh-huh. What should an entrepreneur be thinking right after they launch something or even before to kind of help them? I mean, what would you say to someone who's doing their first launch? They don't really know much about financials, like kind of the situation I was in. They really don't understand how taxes work and how to ethically and legally not pay a lot of them. You know what I mean? That's a world on its own. And one of the reasons why I hire you guys, but what would you say to that brand new person?
Oh man, I'm gonna split that into two questions. Yep. Like, if you're the brand new aspiring entrepreneur and have not yet broken, how do I make money? Right? This is gonna be counterintuitive advice, but for the most part, I'm gonna say delete the necessity for financial conversation and figure out how to make money. Like, break out and how, even if you don't net a lot of it, like the investing to create the skill set to know how to take something to market and get somebody to pull out their wallets and pay you is a superpower very, very few people in the world ever actually master. And so the first round is legitimate. Just say, will anybody even pay me for this? Like, I'm not even worried about the business model behind it, but will somebody pay me? Does that make sense? I know that's not the listenership for this because this is launched for profit, which means you've already figured out how to make money, right? But I do want to qualify that if you are like the aspiring part of this, know that there is a different path. Know that you need a path for you as an entrepreneur because your life, once you figure out how to make money, will be fundamental. Like, you will live in a different reality than even I look out like at my neighborhood that I live in, like we're supposed to all be the same socioeconomic status of the neighborhood that we live in. We picked it for that reason, but I still live in a different reality than everybody here because I can make my own money, not trade my time for lots of it, right? So first off, like, that's the most important thing that we as business owners can really learn and aspire to. But now to answer the question you actually asked as we transition to, launching for profit, right? Before we really say, okay, this is the thing that is going to drive my revenues, like this is what I've been here for and going to be the core of my business, we have to, you already have the word built into everything you're talking about, which is where most people avoid it, is not how much revenue is this going to drive, but what is my plan for this to be profitable, right? And to create wealth and revenue. And what is my plan to get paid? And that's as simply as I can put it would be, wait a minute, not just how will money come in and ding through my Stripe account, but what is my plan for me personally to get paid? And one of the first, and I didn't, just because of, we all live in our own superpower and it makes us, unaware of what other people see. But I ran into so many entrepreneurs that once they had their successful launch, they would come to me and say, for a number of reasons, but they come and say, I'm afraid to pay myself. Like, I don't know how, like, Steve, we met in this scenario. Like, I have lots of zeros in my checking account, but I don't know how to get any of it. I'm still living on nothing. Like,
so true.
How do I bridge that gap? And having a plan to be able to do that, because I will say this until, like, I will die on this sword. Your business does not grow in proportion to how well you bootstrap it. Your business will grow in proportion to how much you get paid. You personally, as an individual, take from the business will really, truly determine how much you get paid. And so having a plan and confidently knowing what I can and cannot do with my cash as a business owner is the roadblock to alleviate, and it will solve so many of the other problems.
That's huge. That's huge. I never thought of it that way, but it's true. I was scared to death because I remember that there was a lot of cash, sitting in there. And I remember you and I started looking at it and you're like, whoa. And it was because I heard all these horror stories of people getting slapped with these massive tax bills and gurus that I've listened to, like, oh, they had to go to, tax
or not being able to pay payroll, right? And like, well, how much of this is mine and what do I do with it? 100%.
Yeah. And I remember when you taught me how to first actually pay myself above salary, and it felt so good, but it also removed for me. I remember I was kind of stagnating a little bit because I didn't need to go be entrepreneurial and solve problems because there's tons of cash in the business bank account. I remember I paid myself, and then actually you have that Vox. I forgot that you have that Vox where I'm just like, dude, this has changed my life. Like, I'm moving. Oh my gosh.
Breaking my brain.
Crazy thing ever, nuts thing. And, I kept following that same pattern and principle. And I had a lawyer reach out. He's a great friend of mine. And he's like looking at some of my stuff. And he's like, dude, your business, like, he's like, most of my friends think that you're a downtown executive. They don't, but it's because of the way I treat the money. Funny enough, the revenue really didn't grow that much. It's that you taught me to treat this like an actual CEO, not just like a title that I'm going to slap on my LinkedIn profile. I mean, it's a whole different skill set. It wasn't challenging. I just was totally unaware of it.
And that's the thing. Oh man, I'm glad you said it that succinctly, because you don't have to be a finance genius, right, to be able to understand this. It's just a skill set that needs to be learned. And what I found working with entrepreneurs like you and Russell and a lot